Hi everyone, and welcome to this segment of Lost in Translation, where we pick a word with our guest or a guest and draw upon their life experiences or culture, so we define that word a little bit more, so no one gets lost along the way. Hi, Mike.
8 off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Hey. Hi, my name is Cynthia Bernard, and I'm your host for this segment of Lost in Translation, part of On a Water Break. And today, I have three guests that I worked a lot with you guys this year, right? Kevin, how do you say your last name? I think I've never said your last name in the...
Can you give it a shot?
Westminster?
Cousineau. It's Westerman.
Yeah. Westerman. I see. It was just, I think I just didn't remember your name at all, which is not. And from Third Legend, we have Jasmine Cousineau, better known as Jazz from Les Eclipses, and Micheal Watier, better known as the friend of Christine. No, as Mike from Sonnor. How are you guys?
Good.
So it's the first time we're doing a roundtable. We may look a little weird at first because we're very polite Quebecers that let everyone answer one after the other, but I promise we like each other. No, Mike is not respectful usually, but he's gonna be the nicest tonight. So 2024 is our word. We're heading up to championship. So before we go and dive in this, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Because we know a lot about each other, but can you tell a little bit about yourself and your organization? Can we start with Mike?
Sure. I'm with Sonnor. I've been with them on and off for 30-some years. Yeah. So I started as a member. I've marched Winter Guard, I've marched Drum Corps, and right now I'm the lead designer for the Cadet, the RA, and the A group.
And how do you know? And now I may ask questions that you guys don't know but do you know Sonnor has been around
since 1985 was the first season, and their first WGI was 1986.
1986.
And I was there, unfortunately.
See, it's my age. Yeah, so it's been 38. It's not 38 years of championship because
it's our 40th. It's our 40th season this year.
Wow,
consecutive. So we're the oldest active Colorguard in Quebec.
That's so cool. It's so cool to go sometimes. Yeah, sometimes how far those groups are, because even I don't know maybe you know, but I don't know how many 40-year-old even American organizations there is. I know that
there's Blessed
Watch.
There's Black Watch. There's not a lot. Some of the founding ones were the Cavaliers and Phantom Regiment and Quasar and Urte. They've all disappeared. So yeah. I think Blessed Sac is really the torch bearer right now.
Yeah, you're right. I know Black Watch has been there for a while too, but.
And I hate that I know all of this.
Yeah,
I was there.
Well, it's two of the things. You were there, and you're a nerd of Colorguard. And here on Lost in Translation and On a Water Break, we're not shy about being nerds of Colorguard. It's okay.
I am a nerd.
Yeah. And you, Jasmine, Jazz.
I'm Jasmine. I'm with Les Eclipses. I've been with Les Eclipses for 15 years already. Gosh.
The same amount of years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've marched other places, but I've marched as Eclipse, and I started teaching a few years ago, and now I am the designer and caption head for the A group.
Mm-hmm. And Kevin?
Hi. So I'm with Third Legend. I'm a co-director, but also I'm on the design team for the open group. Yeah.
And so the word, and it's a number, but I guess we can write 2024. What does 2024 means to you? Let's go the other way around. Kevin, do you have an idea?
I think, 2024 for us, it's our third full season in open class, and we're, still trying to establish ourselves in that sense. We've been successful for quite a few years now, and just trying to keep that I don't know how you say the the excellence that we've expected from our members and from our staff, and just keep on building on it.
Yeah. I think the other thing that is interesting about your organization, I don't know if Third Legend has been around for how long.
We're in our 24th year.
God, already?
And I was there. That's crazy. It's crazy. And for Quebec, it's a fairly young organization. I mean, the youngest is Carpe Diem, but then I think it's Third Legend. But I don't know if you can say a word on that, but as an organization, because 2024 is important for us and we want to talk about championship, but your organizations also, I think, are interesting for Americans, and you being a ex-American, or maybe you are
still American.
You're still American, but you can say a little about that. But Third Legend has now 4 groups. You have mini, novice,
a regional A, and open. Yeah.
And I don't know, like you went through, or maybe you didn't, you can say, but you went through COVID pretty okay. Like it looks like it's the organization that didn't, although Sonnor too, but you keep on being really good at recruiting for some reason.
I think, because if you look at our regional A, well, sorry, I'll start with the open because that's where I have the most experience. So our open group, we've had a lot of them since 2017, 2018, when we first started going back to WGI consistently, and they've stuck with it. And we've added a lot of people along the way, either from our own program or recruiting from other organizations in the area.
We all know you still members in the organization.
Oh yeah, that's how we do it.
No,
yeah.
you don't.
No. We've had a few people from, because I used to teach in the States, in New York. We've had a few people from there come up. We've had some members from our scholastic group Carpe Diem here in Quebec join. So they've helped this sounds colder than I mean it, but pad out the ranks as we've lost some of our original Third Legend people. And we've also had a lot of people move up from the old regional A and A that we had before COVID. So that was helpful. And I think, we tried really hard to keep everyone engaged. We did solos and stuff like that during COVID, and that helped a lot. And then we also started a couple of summer dance programs with the city of St-Eustache, and that helped to recruit for our younger groups too. Yeah. So
that you're really lucky to have that. We talked about that before, but to have that type of support from the city is
it's invaluable. I think big shout out to the city of St-Eustache for supporting us with their facilities and marketing and all those things they're able to give us.
Yeah. And for you, Jasmine, what does 2024 mean?
I mean, 2024, we didn't even know if we were going to have an A group. I mean, there's only 6 of them. So, and that was our limit. That was we have to be 6 in order to have a group. And here we are. So it's starting off pretty rocky. I mean, like I said, we didn't know if we were going to have a group. Our budget wasn't super high either. I mean, we lost the bingo and everything. So kind of just going with the flow. And I mean, we've ended up being super successful as of now. So I think the kids have really brought the program to where it is now. And that's the good thing about being 6 is that they all want to be there. And we started the season by telling them, we're not going to WGI. Are you still in this? And they all said, absolutely. We just want to spin flags in a gym. So that's the good thing about being 6. They all are really motivated and just really want to do Colorguard, I guess. Right?
And Jasmine is very, very humble, but I can say on the other hand that it's also a staff team. And I mean, in general, around this group is people that just want to be there because they didn't want it to fall. And it kind of, Mike was there, but it kind of resembles the vibe that we had what year was that, Michael? The
2008.
2008 with Sonnor?
When we almost started.
Yeah, it's just a group of people that wanted things to work out, period. So, and I'm not saying that usually staff team is not in that vibe, but sometimes you get in a group of things and you're just the same team as always, because you've always been together and stuff. And this is a brand new team. No one Leah and I work together, you and I work together, but it's as a team. It's not Fred and I work together. Like there's pieces, but as a team, like and Jasmine is very humble. She's not going to say it, but it's your first design, your first caption head, and yeah, I was going to say that I forgot, but I was going to say about Third Legend. If you can move and go see Third Legend, what Kevin said about the kids being there for a couple of years at championship, it shows. I don't want to say they're on the top of their peak because we hope they haven't peaked yet, right? We hope
for a long forever.
Yeah, we hope for a long peak with them, and I mean they're really, really strong. They're really nice kids to work with. So you need to go see Third Legend, but you need to go see Les Eclipses also because if you know all that, like they're 6, it's impressive that they're 6, the way they handle themselves, the way they look. But when you think also about this group was basically the staff team was built end of August because one thing led to another, and they lost their staff team in August for different reasons. But it was built on not even a corner of a table, like on a road to
it was
Allentown.
In Allentown, yeah. Like Maxine talked to me. She was like, "I'm in Allentown." I was like, "Good, I'm going tomorrow. Let's talk then." So I mean, that's how it ended up going. But
yeah, it was a lot of me and Martin, because when that happened, Martin kind of called me, and was a lot of Martin being like, "This person has potential. This person has potential. This person has potential. Can they say yes? Yes, cool." And so it's Les Eclipses, stars got aligned, if we can say. And for you, Michael, what does 2024 mean?
I mean, it's weird because we're literally the new kids on the block, even though we're the oldest color guard out there. Yeah. So to me, 2024 it's a year of growth. You know, we basically started from 0 8 years ago, built the program back up, got feeder groups so that we could be the A group. Went up A last year. This year is our first WGI year. Mm-hmm. So it's just continuing the plan that we started with 8 years ago. So it's just cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sonnor, I wish I had said that from the start, but I know I said it. I work with the 3 organizations this year, and that is one of the most interesting thing that I've done is to be involved with different organizations that have the same goal, basically, was to first show up at the championship, because we can talk on how much it costs to go, but and how much of a work it is. But Sonnor, those kids, you need to be able to see, and on top of it, they go right after dinner, around dinner. It's a good time to go see a show, and Third Legend too. And but those kids are the most, I don't know what the right word would be, efficient. Like my mom, like Mike knows that, but my mom came to one rehearsal. She's a cleaning person. She cleans and we were cleaning them. We could clean them for 8 hours straight. And it was not just like, oh, little counts here, like real deep cleaning when you spend like 15 minutes on 2 counts, a full day. And they applied and stuck with the stuff that applied like right on. They're fairly young, like Mike, maybe like, so, I always say that, but they're like, 12
my youngest one is 13
to Gab is like 19.
My oldest one just turned 20. The average age is about, I want to say 15.
Yeah. So it's 2 things. It's one, they're fairly young. I mean, 20 is not that young, but like they're fairly young. So they are at that moment where they just grab so much information. Like they're the biggest sponge I'm around this year, I think. And on the other hand, the vibe there is in this gym doesn't show that there's a 13 and a 20. I don't know how to say that, but they blend well.
They blend well. They mesh well. There's no like cliques. They just, I mean, I've taught a lot of groups over the years. This group just likes being with each other.
Yeah.
And they're just excited for every single little thing this year, which is just nice to see. And they love watching Colorguard.
Yeah. Yeah, they're at that age where they want to be in a gym watching guard from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. And there's also a testament to...
When does that stop?
It does though. I have been around color guards that are like, we don't go, but Jasmine marched years. Am I wrong, Jasmine? Years with these eclipses where we would go see like maybe an hour, and I was like, but we're here. But there is sometimes part of groups that it's not like this at Les Eclipses anymore. But no, not the last years. But what was I going to say about Sonnor? Yeah, there's also something that is really nice. Like Mike is talking about planning, and I mean, can we say you're a type A person? Mike plans a lot.
I would agree with that.
Okay, and and I think to have like a 2-year, 5-year, maybe it was an 8-year plan, but like to have a 5-year plan, more than just a year plan, right? For an organization,
it's a 10-year plan. The 10-year plan is to try and get him back into finals. We're on year 8.
You're on year 8, yeah. So I think that is a testament of how important it is to not just have a 1 or 2 year plan, even if you have a old, quote unquote, old organization, like always have at least a 3-year plan in my mind. Like it really depends where your goal is and where you are set. And this year I walked out this team. I was brought in mostly to bringing a technique program, if it's what we can say. And but it was super clear from the get-go, like we want to be comfortable semifinalists. And I mean, we're not going to jinx nothing. We don't know, but as of right now, we've got really great reviews. Like maybe you can talk a little bit about critique, how it went, but really great reviews from judges in it, how they can see that there is a plan from the regional A all the way to the A. And
yeah, I mean, we approach critique differently this year because I'm not looking at the season. I'm looking at the plan. So we go into critique going, listen, our plan this year is this, we're not finalists. So here's what we did this year. What do we need to build on for next year to get us to the next level? So our goal this year was to make finals at a regional, which we did. Go to Dayton, which we will. Hopefully make semis. If we don't, that's okay too. We're going to move on to next year. So I think the judges appreciated the fact that we came at things differently. Yeah. And we're looking not just to what we need to finish the season, but what do we need to grow into next year with the regional A and the independent A.
Yeah. Now that I'm seeing the other side, the judge side, I can say that it's very refreshing to see an organization that know exactly what their goals are and that set that goal, and that's what they're doing for their members. And I'm not saying people are not working for the kids, but there's people that are working for the kids but want to be really creative and give them a little bit more and go maybe a little above the head of the members. And so to see that is refreshing, and I think it was appreciated by all the judges that we talked. So what's special about this season for your organization? Let's talk to Jasmine first.
Oh my gosh, there's so much that is special this year. I don't know what to. I mean, just the fact that we weren't supposed to go to WGI at first, and then we kind of like realized that, oh, this show actually has a lot of potential and the kids are motivated. They want to be there, like I said. So that is super special that we actually get to go and that we ended up making that decision kind of last minute. So I think that, and also the fact that, like I said in the beginning, we didn't have much budget to go with. Like Matson told me right at the beginning, you have to design a show and you have like no money to do it. I was like, perfect. So everything besides the uniforms are like reused. Like the flags have all been used by Les Eclipses. One flag that we use is from a former seamstress that worked with Les Eclipses.
She was president.
Yeah, she recently passed away, so we wanted to like kind of honor that. And plus the flag just like fit perfectly with the color scheme. So I guess that's kind of like their special nod. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Martin and I talked about it a lot this year, Les Eclipses, and it's a year that I think is very fitting to have this. There's a lot of wink to the past, and there's a lot of support that comes from there was a post today that was written by Les Eclipses because they're going to WGI. They wanted to announce it after regional because that was their goal to bring the regional A and the A class to the regional. And it's a lot of money. And I know that we can talk to any group we all know that now buses are double the price that they were before COVID. It's not just for Canadians, but we do have that exchange rate that makes it crazy. And but there's the thing with Madame Héroux, and there's all the alumni that support, and there's the 4 previous directors that kind of wrote to Martin and supported how much we could. Like, all of that kind of shown that the arrow was pointing to WGI, and it was just that. Yeah. And for you, Kevin, what's special about this season for you guys?
But yeah, for this season, for us, for this like year, Third Legend tried to really tackle a lot of initiatives. Like, we expanded our board. Because we're growing, and it's not something that 3 people can manage all by themselves out of their kitchen, meeting every 6 weeks or whatever it used to be. We've created committees to help us with transportation and food and all those things that, like, when we had 12 members and only one group was going to WGI, it was easy enough to just be like, okay, we're going to make a big batch of pasta salad and they're going to love it. But like now, we have to plan meals for multiple groups all at the same time. There's special requests and dietary needs and things like that. And, and we've just been able to really accomplish a lot. We have like our sponsor a meal program this year, which has been really successful. I know a lot of other groups have already done it, but it's the first time we've done it. Big thank you to all those people who've donated. And like you mentioned before, the mini group, I guess, like I said, this year's just special because we've really been able to launch a lot of initiatives successfully. We have a sponsorship with digital performance gear that's really helped us defray a lot of the costs that come with producing a show. It's hard to just pick one thing, and it's really nice that we've been able to receive that support to help grow the organization in ways that are like allowing more people to participate for less cost. As you mentioned, it's just so costly now to go to WGI and go to regionals and all that. So everything we've been able to do to help diminish that for the members has been a blessing, really.
And you, Mike?
I mean, everything's special. Just the fact that I'm getting a Sonnor group back to WGI. That's big because I was with them in their heyday. We've started over so many times. So I think between that and the fact that we now have 2 feeder groups into the A group, we're setting them up for success in the future. So I like where the organization is going, and I feel confident that they have a brighter future than they did 8 years ago. So I think it's a lot of that. I'm a very proud daddy when it comes to Sonnor and my kids.
Yeah. Which is funny because there's a lot of people that know how you didn't like kids several years ago. Like, not at all. But
yeah, I didn't enjoy kids until I started teaching little kids. Now I love them.
No, you are that, and then you protect them in every single way possible, and it shows. It just shows, and the way also that the parents are very around. Like, there's volunteers that are really, but there's a lot of support from the parents, and I think parents are excited for them to go to WGI also, because we're going to have a lot of, like, I was talking to Shatan, there's going to be a lot of moms and dads.
There's a lot of moms and dads. Like, they're super excited for their kid. That's what I really love. Like, the parents really embraced Sonnor and what it brings to their kids. And year after year, they're coming back. Their sisters are coming back. Like, our kids, we started a whole cadet group this year. We got all new kids. So I think everything that surrounds the organization now is in a really great place. So that just makes me really proud of what we've been able to accomplish.
Yeah.
And trying to get the kids not to feel like they're the babies anymore. Like, getting them to understand that they are a competitive A group has been difficult.
But you know what? We've talked about that, you and I talked about that to a lot of different people. Like, we're different, how can I say this? Different circuit has different amounts of A class and scholastic A and double A and all that, right? but in the history, not the circuit, in the history of our circuit, the A class have been really strong A classes for baby, like when Third Legend started to make finals in A class, right? So I don't know how long that is. So for a group that their goal is not to be top 5 A class, but to build and to build and to go towards a goal that makes sense for every year, because it was not a 1-year goal to say like this year we're making finals, but then be compared to Third Legend in the minds of the judges that are now, and even in our minds, as you know what I mean, like even as a culture, like the A class that even the people in the stands are used to see are like very mature and very mature programs and kids, older kids in general. And you guys, to have the kids look at those groups and be like, we're the same. Like we play in the same field. You're the same. You're not. It's not. And in A class, there's so many groups that you can be a very, very successful group. If you make semis, if you go to WGI, you're successful.
Yeah. But that's why it's good to go to the States, because, I agree with you. It's hard to compete in Quebec because there's 2 of us, and you have Les Eclipses, which are a major powerhouse in A class, and us. So, there's not a lot of fun for us in Quebec. But when you go to the States, all of a sudden there's 16, 17 other groups, and the kids get to see that they are competitive within their competitive class. So it makes it easier for us to get them to buy into the fact that they're competitive. So I think that was a major move this year, is to get into 2 regionals so that they could see what their playing field was, and that they actually do belong in A class.
Yeah. I like that you're saying like that they belong and that they understand, because I don't think to a certain extent that not that they don't trust us, but we're mom, we're dad, we're team, like of course we're going to tell them they're the best. And not that they don't believe us, but once they don't see where they're ranked and how well it works for real. And this show, I don't want to say in particular, because you always write entertaining shows, but this show stands out on its own in the A class, which is not easy to do, period. And as in Quebec, and in the US too, it's a crowd-pleasing show. Like people want to clap, not just want to, they clap. You have reactions from the crowd.
Yeah, well, that's my advertising background. There's a lot of that when I design shows.
I know, but that to say, it fits them and it helps them believe in their program also. Because when you're in a program like the thing that I write, where there's no room to clap, where it doesn't make sense to clap, kids get scared at a certain point when you have like 4 minutes of silence. But I think everything.
It's like just the fact that the last regional, they actually had some kids from other groups coming up to them going, we love your show, blah, blah, blah. It's something they've never experienced. Really? So it was very heartwarming when they'd run up to me and go, I was in the bathroom and somebody said they love our show. Aww. And I was like, are you sure they were talking about our show? No.
But isn't that the best when you were members, guys? To have people come and say,
I always go out of my way to tell when I see members of shows that I like. I always go out of my way to tell them, because I used to love it when I marched.
Yeah,
it's validating. Yeah,
it is, and it comes from the outside, and in the end, we kind of do it. We do it for the judges, we do it for a rank, but we love to please the crowd, and we don't have that response unless someone stops us and say it and claps. And sometimes there's no room for claps in shows. So that's really cool.
I always pick names for claps.
Yeah. You do. Making a parenthesis, if that's a word, I kind of say, like, we talk about money and stuff, but I think one of the things that is also interesting, and maybe Kevin, you can testament to that, is how little our tuition is. I don't think people realize how little our tuition is compared to the US. So we go, it's not a private information. Like, can we go around and just say how much the tuition for this year was for your kids? I don't know if you all know.
I might have to confirm with some sources, but
but it's, I think I kind of know for every group, it's around what? So maybe if Mike, do you know?
I want to say 600.
I think it's 630. If I'm not wrong.
That's close. Did I win something?
Well, and no, because I don't know exactly. I think it's a number that I heard at some point.
Like, I want to say it's in the 600 range, which is really good for everything that they're doing.
Yeah, Canadian.
Canadian. So that's about
you have to remember that part.
US. Yeah,
that's about $2.50 US. Yeah,
$50.
No, it's less. Jasmine, do you know?
I
know you pulled it down.
Yeah, so from last year it was higher than this year because they went to WGI. I mean, we're going now, but I want to say maybe in the 700s, 800. I'm not sure exactly, but somewhere similar to that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was they pulled it down to like 550, and it used to be 750 or something.
I was completely off then. I don't know.
No. But see, I'm saying this, and after the COVID year, we did I don't know how you say that in English, but a palier, we did you need to pay levels. At least levels. Yeah, so you need the least amount the kids could pay. Maybe that's an idea for people, but the least amount they had to pay was $680 coming back from COVID. But then we did levels where if you're a little bit more of ease and money, you could pay this, and if you and put it into a calendar. So we had kids that had more money to spare and were okay with paying $800, but the flat fee, I don't know how to say it exactly, but the tuition was $680. So it makes sense if now it's $7. Yeah. And you, Kevin?
We did have to raise ours a little bit this year just because the team grew and but it's still hovering just above 1,000 Canadian. And for reference, I know that what I paid in 2012 when I marched Independent A was $600 US. So it's crazy to hear that,
When I started marching, it was like $75.
I don't think I ever paid a tuition at Les Etoiles because my dad was a director, so he was putting probably 10 times the amount, but it was $350 in 96.
Yeah.
How would you go? And we were going in buses. Les Etoiles d'Or, we were snobbies.
When I marched Cavaliers, DCI, $500.
Wow.
$500.
US?
That'll get you an audition weekend this year.
$500 when I marched, and I thought that was a lot back then.
Really soon, $500 is going to be a video audition fee.
Right, exactly.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's
it's getting there.
Crazy.
I think one thing about Third Legend, though, I do want to say is because we increased it since COVID.
Yeah,
we have really tried to keep the motto though, if you want to be in the gym, come to the gym.
We're gonna make it work.
Yeah, we've always made it work, even when people are I can pay half. We've always found a way for them to either fundraise more or find a sponsor. It's because of how small the community is up here, especially. If people want to do it, we're gonna find a way for them to do it.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh yeah. And before we end can you talk a little bit about your show? I pique people's interest maybe and things that are the storyline or things that are special they need to look for. Who wants to start?
Are you sending this to the judges or?
Well, it would be. I'm not saying. I love that you're saying this. I'm not saying this, but it's really good if you're doing this and the judge hears something. It's not bad.
So if you're at independent open prelims, we're performing at 7:27.
It's not a bad thing if they know a little bit about your program before. So, Kevin, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So this year we wanted to go with something very visual. And, kind of a stark contrast. So, we've done very flowery, happy shows in the past and trying to keep the style similar, but also explore something a little darker. We went with, it's called Persephone, the Promise of Spring. And so it follows the story of Persephone, who's kidnapped into the underworld by the god of death, Hades. And then, she's, very... sad and melancholic at first, and then there's a rage that grows inside of her until finally Hades offers her a pomegranate or the seeds of a pomegranate, and
it fixes everything.
No, so with that, she's allowed to leave the underworld for 6 months out of the year, and that's how we have our seasons according to the myth. So we have a little surprise ending ready for Dayton. So that's going to be the the cherry on top. Or
I can't wait. I don't know how you guys made it happen. I know what it is. I haven't seen it, but yeah. I think Third Legend show this year is fairly interesting because it brings everything that we've always liked of Third Legend, is the theatrics and you went even more into the props. How do you say that? Production value. Even more. And I mean, that's not a surprise. So I'm going to say there's some flower petals thrown here and there. Like, that's Third Legend. Yeah, I mean, that's Third Legend, right?
Big shock, right?
Knowing also that the members kind of wanting, and you felt like the members were wanting to portray something different.
Yeah.
And it's very fun to see them flourish in that rage part in particular, because they really like that. They really like to perform.
Yeah. Really young adults love to rage, so we thought it's a good way to get those feelings out. You know, like most art, I guess, art and sports for that matter. You know, it's a good way to express those feelings in like a healthy way and kind of let loose and, you know, rage against your own Hades, whatever it may be.
Really cool. I really like that. You know, I've geeked out since the beginning that you guys told.
A lot of symbolism, like you mentioned, you know.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Pick up on a lot of it.
The first, well, because and that's when I was saying that I'm working with the 3 organization. It was really interesting is that you change your concepts through the summers, and when you're talking about the concept you want to do, you're like, we're doing this, and then 2 weeks after it's like, oh, never mind, we're doing this. Like, the way that Third Legend works creatively is really not attached to a particular idea. Like, there's not a big grip. I don't know how to not making sound bad, but there's not a big grip on like one thing, and it's like, no, we're doing this, and it's only this, and I'm the only one that has, you know what I mean? Like, but I guess you know because you're there. And but as soon as you said Greek, ancient, whatever, I was like, oh, geeked out, because for people that know, the program of the COVID program of Les Eclipses Open was Saturnalia Festival of Chaos, and it's kind of intertwined with like Persephone is the daughter of the show that we wrote the year anyway. So like I was, of course, like into it as far as, but yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting how, like you're saying you're part of the program, the design team, and there is like a design force behind Vincent and behind you and stuff. But I think what makes a lot of what's is very interesting with the organization is that as soon as someone that has an idea that comes from an intellect, like something that was thought out, and it's not just a feeling idea, like it's taken very seriously, like always.
I mean, not to monopolize the time or anything, but like it's true that we really do, like we don't do titles really, other than like the administrative stuff, like, you know, general director and all that stuff that we have to do under law and all that. But like we really all share that like creative vision, and we try to like hone in, because like the more of us who enjoy the program, the more of the public, of the judges, of the members who will enjoy the program as well. So like no idea is too like silly or like from an inexperienced staff member to bring up or try, because you never know when it's going to be like, oh, but then it will spark something in someone else. And so we try to be very like egalitarian in our approach, like amongst ourselves too.
Who wants to go next? Mike, do you want to?
Sure. I mean, the show's called Blank Page, and I really wanted to design something this year that would be ownable for the kids. So it's the whole idea of, you know, when you're staring at a blank page, it's in life when you need to make a decision and you don't know where to go, and there's so many possibilities and so many ways to go, but finally you just make a decision to go there. So that's what I wanted the kids to think of in the show, so they can have their own story and their own progression. So we built the show that everybody starts to the left, so that you're reading left to right, and everybody enters the floor at their own pace, because everybody has their own decision, their own story, their own life to live. And as the show progresses through all the emotions and everything, you know, everything that can happen in life, everybody ends up finishing to the right as your story, you know, as that story comes to an end, but they all finish at their own tempo, at their own pace when their story ends, because nobody's story is the same. But when they finish, they can look back and see that whatever decision they made got them to where they are today. So on a very, very emotional level, that's what we want to do. But it's also a show that's very, if you don't understand all of that, it's still very easy to read. It's a literal blank page with people going from left to right, and there's pencils on the flags. Yeah. So it worked. It worked on a lot of levels. I just wanted something easy, comprehensible for our first year at WGI.
Mm-hmm.
That was also interesting.
Huh?
That was also interesting, hopefully.
Yeah, I think so. The other thing that is really interesting is that when you first told me about that concept, before I heard the music, it was very like almost anxiety inducing, because a blank page, like as a creative person, like it's like where are we going? And I was like, it was kind of I don't want to say deep, but kind of a new emotion to portray for those members. Like it was a lot available, and you were like, no, it's the hope, it's the writing the first word, so that you're creative, and that that you're that you're a creative person, you're an artist. So it's not like deep and lingering and oh my god, where am I going with that blank page? It's like how they explore the blank page creatively, and as
it's not about angst or being angst ridden. It's about, I've made this decision, I'm comfortable with it, I'm moving forward in life. So it's about the hope and positivity of making a decision and getting to somewhere else in life that you wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. And as a technique person, and also as an now an A class geek in sheets, I think it was such a really smart concept. So we can write, I don't want to say simpler, but a very technical show at first. Like September, the show was very, very technical, and the tosses and the way they were standing on the floor and stuff. And to build with them and giving them more and more and more within the program that was written for them. And because the show is a blank page, it worked either way, right? It worked as a very technical blank. I don't want to say blank, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I know what you mean. Because they're young, so we had to build them up, and we can't overwrite the show at the beginning of the season because they're just not there yet. But this show allowed us to become more difficult as the members got more comfortable and better in what they were doing.
Yeah. And go step by step, like, and stop wherever they needed to stop. And probably now we could go even a couple of steps, but we're not going to, because it's WGI. We want them to be comfortable and blah, blah, blah.
I also have surprises for WGI. So.
Yeah, we do. I can't wait to see. It's going to be a surprise for me too.
We'll see how that goes.
Is it petals?
Yeah. It's not petals.
It's a pomegranate.
It's pencils.
It's big, yeah. So all the
pencils in the flags.
I'm throwing pencils at the audience.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think is really fun is the color palette, and not that there's a lot of colors, but it's a very refreshing color palette. A lot of people talk to us about the color palette.
Once again, it's my advertising background. Yeah. I'm really big into design and color and emotions, and manipulating emotions through color and design.
Abusive design?
No, that's advertising. You learn how to get what you need out of people emotionally.
Yeah, you're right. And also, who's the print effects?
Phil and Floor Effects did our flags, and they did the design for the pants.
Yeah. So what worked really well also with them is that because they were the same people that printed the yellow tartan, the tartan on the pants, and then the flag, we were sending them what we wanted, but we were like, make sure that it works together, because sometimes when you have a flag and the floor printed, if it's not at the same place, or if maybe it's not the same year, because we recuperate a lot, like sometimes it, the tint kind of didn't work. So maybe they didn't do any tweaking at all, but just know that they were supportive in that way.
And we're also using Third Legend's old floor. So technically the floor made finals.
Yeah. Oh.
Wait, is that
it's the floor you used last year.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's a good luck charm for you.
Around.
Yeah. And you, Jasmine, did all the flags and all the everything made finals before? I think so. Maybe not the floor. I don't know the floor.
I don't know. The floor is cut, so it's like a bunch of pieces from a bunch of things. It's like glued together. It's like a whole scrapbook.
But it's
so I don't know what that
scrapbook.
was from. I don't know about the flags. I think I don't know.
The Madame Héroux flag is the hours.
Yeah,
so
that one made finals. I don't think the ending one made finals.
Which one is that?
That's Art of Falling.
No, it didn't make finals.
Yeah. Maybe we're cursed.
No, don't say that.
No, I'm just kidding.
So what's your show about?
So our show is called 3, and we basically started designing when we found out that they were 6. So we went around, the number 6, 3 triangles, tarps. We have a lot of 3 duets. We have trios. We have 3 sections. Just going around that number as much as we can.
3 part of the show.
3 parts to the show. I mean, ours is from left to right, but we each song is kind of more directed towards one triangle. I mean, obviously we try to take the whole floor, but that's kind of how we processed is this triangle is this part, this one, that part. So yeah, and I mean the color scheme for us, like I said, is just all reused. So I went with the flags that we had that kind of went together, and my favorite color is purple, so kind of just lined up, and we painted the scrapbook triangles that color. So,
and I think people should know that having a lot of money makes you very creative, but having absolutely no money makes you very creative too. Because that idea of cut floors, if I'm not mistaken, was Fred that kind of
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And then he was more from what I remember, he was more thinking about painting triangles or trying to have triangles on the floor. And I, as a next director, was also and if you have little triangles folded, because that's what we did in Sonnor to 07, right? It wasn't triangles, it was rectangles. But I was it's easier to carry because you're only 6. So pulling a tarp up and down the stairs with 6 kids, that will probably be broken in March from just marching. So those triangles is also an operational thing where you need to count on just the members to have your stuff together, right? So that was also something. But when the tarps open, the triangles open at Bethlehem, I was at home. This doesn't look like we don't have enough money, we're going through the drawers like gratter des scènes. It doesn't look like that. It looks like the choice, what, I don't know how to say it.
Well thought out, yeah.
It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And we're going to give a shout out to Fred because he would give himself a shout out. He drew the triangles and the angles.
Yeah, he just kind of drafted it out, and then I was okay, that's it. And then we just went from there. He was I just did it in 2 seconds. I was well, that's what it is now. So
yeah.
I mean,
the whole show looks completely thought out. I mean, I don't think you're selling yourself as much as you should
enough.
Because I think even though you had to reuse flags, the choices you made with the color of the floor, with the black outfit they had on, everything works to perfection.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a reuse, but you made the right decisions to create a show that, especially with 6 members, that can get really boring really quickly when you only have 6. There's no part in that show at all that is boring at any point because of the way everything is staged and works together. So from beginning to end, it's really, really good. I hate to admit it, but it's really good.
Well, thank you for saying that, because Jasmine at this point of the season is tired of us throwing flowers at her. She's tired of hearing her name in the little text.
I mean,
great. Then it sucks, but it's so good. And a lot of people think that when you become a designer, you have to do everything or else you're not the designer. So even Jasmine doesn't kind of feel the designer of this show because there's more than, Fred and I are there and Martin helps a lot. But you are the designer of the show because you're the one that reached out and said, I want this. You're the visionary behind the show. That's what I want to say. We helped you here and there, and we programmed massage little things here and there. But if you weren't there, this year wouldn't exist for Les Eclipses. So anyway, I want to.
Gosh, stop. I don't like receiving compliments. Like you said, like I'm not good with it. So, but I appreciate all the comments. Yeah. But for the uniforms too, that's one thing I wanted to go for is like the very sleek look, the slick back bun. I mean, the triangles have like really rough edges. So we just wanted them to look really pristine on the floor. So I think that helps too with how mature they look also. Just the fact that they're all like put together, like kind of ballerinas, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for tonight's roundtable. It was very enjoyable. I like talking to you guys, and I like that we all together have those discussions. If everyone wants to see or find or follow any of the groups, Third Legend, Les Eclipses, and Sonnor de La Prairie are on social media. And they're all three really good at posting. So if you want to follow them through the journey up to championship and at championship, you can go there and you can find all the social media links in any of the wherever you're listening to this podcast. And yeah, any words of closing out, or I woohoo, give money if you can. Give money to anyone if you can. If you have spare money,
I know
it's hard.
I know we're really excited to like that. We're all going to WGI together this season.
In the same hotel.
Really fun. Yeah, same hotel even. It's just going to be a big Quebec party.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So if you have a chance, we're gonna try to in the description write the hours of the prelims. So if you have a chance to go see, and it is doable if you want to have a prelims Quebec day, it's possible because the Eclipses go in the morning, and then Sonnor probably might get 5:20,
6:13 at night.
6:13, and then if you hop on your car right after Sonnor going, you're gonna make it for Third Legend because both of the stadiums are like 15 minutes away, and you can make it. So thank you very much, you guys. If you want to join me and have a discussion about any word, you don't have to be a superstar Colorguard person. You can be a parent, you can be a Colorguard lover, or a Colorguard superstar. Also, you can reach us on any of the social media on a water break or on a waterbreak@gmail.com. So thank you guys. Have a good night and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Reams. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.